Hi everyone, my name is Kyler and I teach English in Northlight School. This year, I decided to reflect on my language learning experiences. I used to learn Japanese all the way up to JLPT N2. It was during this stage of my life that I came across this concept known as spaced repetition. So, what is spaced repetition? Since we are only human, we tend to forget things. Spaced repetition let us space our learning over regular intervals so that we find it easy to recall information for the long term. When I learned Japanese, I used to key in difficult words into Anki and review them again and again until I mastered them. Because of this, I was immediately fascinated when I came across Quizlet. Firstly, it has a fresh cards function that allows for spaced repetition. More importantly, it can be embedded into SLS. So, besides being able to be embedded into SLS, Quizlet was also not time consuming. All I had to do was to key in a vocab word and several possible definitions will pop up instantly. Then I just needed to choose the most appropriate definition and modify it for my students. I also like how Quizlet engages the senses. For example, students can toggle between the word and the definition with a click of their mouse. It gets them to move their fingers rather than stand blankly at their notes. Quizlet also appeals to auditory learners. Students can click on the volume icon so that they can listen to the definition. This especially helps students who are not that good at reading. My favorite feature is actually the star icon. Students who feel that they need to revise more difficult terms in subsequent sessions can click on this star icon, so they can choose to review these words the next day. I think this is an invaluable form of self assessment as students are encouraged to think about what they have not mastered in a particular study session. This lets them take ownership of their learning as they are made aware of the words that they do not know yet. After creating a set of flashcards, you can share it readily with your students. Just select the HTML code for Quizlets. Just select the HTML code for flashcards on Quizlet. Then hop over to SLS and click on the embed website /app icon. Paste the HTML code and voila! Your flashcards are ready for dissemination. So besides the flashcards mode, there are also other modes that help to support your students' learning. I will now move on to tell you more about the match mode. The match mode is very similar to the drag and drop function in SLS, except that students match a term to its definition. The words and definitions are scrambled all over the place like a treasure hunt. So students are timed based on how fast they match all the words to their respective definitions. This ignites their competitive spirit and is fun for me to watch them try to beat each other's timing. Another way to test students' retention of information is the test mode. In this case, students will tackle 15 questions that come in four different forms so that they can see if they can apply what they have learned. Examples are true false questions and written questions. Once students are confident that they can master the vocab words and meanings well, they can attend the spell mode, which tests them on the spelling on the vocab words. Low progress students can even make use of the volume icon to hear the word as a form of scaffolding. So, if you wish your students to try the test, match, or spell modes, you can select the relevant HTML code on Quizlet and embed it on SLS. This will help you spice out learning for them. Now that you know how user-friendly Quizlet is, I'm sure you're excited to create your original flashcards for your students. However, before you do so, I'd like to highlight 2 points so that you can set your students up for success. Firstly, the layout of the flashcard can appear quite confusing. So I spent one period demonstrating to students where to click to see the definition and how they should proceed to the next flashcard. I also wrote an instructional guide on how to use Quizlet. Secondly, The free version on Quizlet does not allow you to insert images to aid your students' learning. I was quite disappointed when I found that out, so I thought it would be useful for me to let you know in advance so that you can manage your expectations as well as those of your students. Despite all the imperfections, I think Quizlet is still a great tool to facilitate spaced repetition. During the process of making this presentation, I realized that this function called checkpoint, which is very similar to Kahoot, so I intend to try that out in the future. So to conclude, I think Quizlet empowers students to learn words at their own pace, express confidence in their mastery through its games, and build connections with their classmates. Basically, it fulfills the autonomy, the competence, and the relatedness of the self-determination theory. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you give Quizlet a try. さよなら。ありがとうございます。